Help.
Engaged.
Greetings everyone, and welcome to this quick review and first impressions video of Thief. This is essentially Thief 4, since there have been 3 other games in this series. This latest installment has been developed by Eidos Montreal, who are also responsible for Deus Ex: Human Revolution, which incidentally is another revival of a classic game series. First, let's take a look at the graphical settings that I am using. As you can see, everything has been maxed out at a resolution of 1080p. I have only played for a few hours, but I think I have played enough to give you an honest impression of what I think of this game. But before I say anything, let's take a look at the game engine, so that you can form your own opinion. We are in the main city hub area, and although there is a city-wide curfew on, we do see some ordinary citizens wandering the streets.
I should get more sleep.
And of course, there are quite a few guards patrolling the streets in each area. This is focus mode, which highlights objects of interest and has a few other functions, but more on that later. We can take to the roofs, jump and climb various objects and structures, so in many ways, this is also a platform game. We can also perform a dash move, which I will do right now. And yes, this game is very similar to Dishonored. But let's not forget that the developers of Dishonored admitted to being greatly influenced by the Thief series. So it is not surprising that the latest installment of Thief looks similar to Dishonored, especially the 2 hands that appear on screen while Garrett is crouched. Garrett is the name of the character we control in this game, in case you didn't know. Wire cutters. You have to actually buy these from a shop before you can cut any wires. So as you may have noticed, all the on-screen prompts are for an Xbox 360 controller, and that's because I am using one. Some people would frown upon the use of a controller with a PC game, but remember people, there is no right or wrong way to play a game as far as what control setup you use. It's all about what you are happy with and find most comfortable. I personally use a controller, but on occasion, use the mouse to target fast-moving threats. But that option is not always available, since some games cut off access to the keyboard and mouse if a controller is being used. But luckily, this game allows all 3 devices to be used simultaneously. See that? F5 and F9 are the keys for the quick save and quick load functions. Having the ability to save and load at any time greatly increases my enjoyment of a game, because it means I can try high-risk strategies without having to replay earlier parts of a game if I fail. On a game like this, I think it is essential. I should point out, however, that the game's autosave overwrites the quick save, so don't rely too much on the quick save, make manual saves too. So let me show you what a quick save and a quick load feels like. You may have noted on screen when I quick saved, but now I am quick loading. The load is not so quick, because I am recording with FRAPs, which interferes with the game's loading times. But suffice it to say, that the quick load is a lot quicker, when under normal gameplay conditions. So as you saw, and as expected, we reloaded into the exact place we quick saved. If we go into the main map, you will see that this area is part of the main city hub. There are a few more sections to the city hub, but they only appear on the map when you are actually in them. All these areas are linked to each other in fairly complex ways. For example, you can enter a house via a window from one area, then exit onto a ledge into another neighboring area. You can also go through a main door or gate to a neighboring area, so there are plenty of non-linear ways to get around the city. You can also see quest markers on the map for side quests, as well as the main mission quest. You can pick up these side quests from certain characters in the game, although to be honest, I have only encountered one such character so far, from whom I picked up about 8 quests. Okay, Since we are in the menus, let's take a look at the focus power, and all the different ways we can upgrade it. So as you can see, the focus power increases your physical attributes and skills in different ways. Pause the video to read all about them. And since I like to be stealthy, it should be no surprise to some of you that I have already maxed out the stealth upgrades.
They call him Orion.
And here is another unique way to get to a neighboring area. Very Uncharted, like, if you ask me.
You! On your knees!
Why? What'd I do?
Shut it, Bleater. Only Graven Newspate talk back to the Watch. And you're not a Graven, are you?
No, sir. I'm a Northcrest man. I have been my whole life.
What's that smell? You pissed yourself, didn't you?
Please, I didn't do anything.
I'm watching you, Bleater. Now get out of here before I lock you up for loitering.
These guards are not very nice, so I think we need to put them in their places by executing a few stealth takedowns.
What? What the?
Is there anybody here?
Huh? Did I hear something?
It's your imagination.
If someone's there, you'd best stay hidden.
I find the blackjack, our one and only melee weapon, to be the best way to distract enemies and lure them into a trap. You can also use blunt arrows, but they don't always make enough noise. 1 down, and 3 to go. One of them is up in that tower, in case you haven't noticed.
Appears... What's that? Is there anybody here? Hey! You think I'm a fool?
The House of Blossoms
I
is
know
under
someone's
Raker's
there!
touch.
If you make too many distraction noises, the guards will go into a caution phase, where they will actively try to find you. But don't worry, so long as you are not seen, it will not count as a detection.
The shadows won't hide you forever!
You've got to come out sometime! A common criminal is my guess.
And if you are discovered, here's what happens.
You! Halt where you...
Very messy, which is why I love the quick save and quick load functions. Now let's try that again, without getting detected.
What was that noise?
What are you, part dog?
So what do I think of this game? Well, so far, I am really liking it. People have complained about the levels being too small, especially during missions.
What's that?
But so far, I think they have been okay. You see, it is not the quantity, but the quality of an area that counts. And by quality, I mean different ways in which to hide, or traverse, or take down guards, in any given area. I much prefer a smaller area, which has a lot of complexity, as opposed to massive areas, with nothing but empty corridors and plain rooms. So far, I think this game is at least as enjoyable as Dishonored was. So, if you are a stealthy player, you should definitely buy this game. It is always worth checking the stats to see if you were discovered, especially if an enemy started to turn just before a takedown. But everything was fine, I wasn't detected. The third fracker is quite easy to take down. but the final enemy in this area is slightly harder to get to. Facing the tower, head left, where you will see a place to attach a rope arrow to.
I need to rest.
Rope arrows remind me of Tomb Raider, but the Thief series was using rope arrows long before Lara ever did.
The only things under Raker's ditch are the bones of jacknals like you.
Anyway, go through this window, and then out the other one in this room. Yes, there is plenty of loot in this room, but I will wait until I do the walkthrough for this game, before I show everything.
Old gods, new gods, they never listen.
A blunt arrow lowers the drawbridge, or is it a draw ledge, since that sounds more fitting. Anyway, another rope arrow attached up here will enable us to get to that fracker in the tower.
So tired these days.
What's
Timing is key here.
They say the House of Blossoms is under Raker's ditch.
And there we have it, all enemies taken down, at least in this area.
The only things under
That's all we
Raker's
have
ditch
time
are
for.
bones of
This is
jacknals
Blade,
like
and
you.
it's goodbye from me.